So now you ready for the challenging questions. Before we starting the challenging questions, make sure you memorize all the formulas, right? So now let's go. The first question. So here you've got a cone and you just slice the part of a cone. That now read the question and please draw the shape first. Then just imagine that you've got a cone that your top part is missing. So draw the shape. Then what you need to do is just fill them. Then you need to find the right size of each part. Here I've got my drawing. Then all part is missing. Then read through the question. Then we notice the height will be 10. That now the diameter will be, since radius is 4, diameter is 8, then it's sliced from the 5 centimeter from the top. So that's why I'm going to put the 5 on top. That now what we need to do is, we need to calculate the volume of smaller cone, that missing part, and then the large cone, then finding out the formula, right? So this small cone, then the big large one before the cutting. Always challenging questions, you must have a plan before you calculating. So my plan is here is I'm going to calculate the volume of these two cones. Then now finding out the percentage, because at the end we need to compare the volumes of these two shapes. So let's calculate the volumes of these two shapes. First one, the small one, you remember how to calculate the volume of the cone? So it's 1/3 pi r squared h. That we need to find out the r and h, right? Let's see. Finding the radius is quite tricky because radius is missing. We know the radius of the big cone, but small cone we don't have it. But let's see. Let's compare the small two. Let's use a ratio to finding out the radius of the small cone. Then since we know that the height will be, small cone is 5 and then the big cone is 10, right? Then we know that the ratio between the small and big cone is 1 to 2. Then since these are similar shape, so we can use this ratio to the radius as well. So since the diameter of the big cone is 8, then half of the diameter will be the 4, that is the diameter of the small cone. So now we come up with our radius, that's the 2, right? We found all the sides, 1/3 pi r squared times height, that's 5, right? And then big cone will be 1/3 pi 4 squared times 10, right? Then now let's calculate it. It will be 20 pi third, and then the big cone will be 160 pi third. So since we're finding out the volume of the smaller cone and the larger cone, then we need to find the percentage. So easy way to find the percentage is we need to kind of finding out the ratio between the smaller one and the larger one, right? So we've got a 20 pi third and the 160 pi third. So to make it into the whole number, try to divide and times and then make it into simple form, right? First of all, I'm going to times 3 to remove the denominator, and then divide by pi to remove it, and also I can divide by 20. That is simply the ratio between the small cone and larger cone will be 1 to 8, right? So the 1 to 8, that means the small cone is, yes, right, 1/8 of the big cone. Or in other words, the big cone is 8 times bigger than the smaller one. So we can write down as a fraction. Since we're looking for the percentage of the larger cone, so the smaller cone is 1/8 of the larger cone, so it's 1/8. Then all we need to do is times by hundreds. Then we can come up with the percentage, right? So the answer will be 12.5%. Here, so you've got a 12 hanging baskets and then you've got compost. Then now always when you have a water problems, underline the important bit. Then now the diameter of the hanging basket is 40 centimeter, and then compost is, yes, you've got 4 bags of 50 liter, then we come up with the total amount of the compost will be 200 liter. Then, now our final goal is we need to comparing the volume, right? Then, now, here we've got a hanging basket, then finding out the volume of the hanging basket, but it's a 12, so 12 loss of the volume of the hanging basket. That now, can you see the shape of the hanging basket? It is a hemisphere, half of the volume of the sphere, right? So that will be, yes, right, 2/3 pi r cubed. So now let's calculate it. First of all, let's focus on the one hanging basket, the 2/3, and then 20 cubed. The 20 cubed will be 8,000, right? Then now, so let's do not calculate it. Let's do it all together. Since this is the one hanging basket, don't forget to times 12 as well. That will be, so we can simplify it and it's end up with 8 times 8,000 pi. That will be 64,000 pi. Now we come up with the 12 lots of hanging baskets. So volume of 12 lots of hanging basket is 64,000 pi. So now you need to use your calculator to times the pi as well, because we need to compare the amount. So now if you times pi, that it will be end up with roughly 210,061.9. Then what we need to do here, so before we comparing the amount, we've got a different unit. Your compost is a liter, then your hanging basket is a cubic centimeter. And then we all know that the 1 milliliter will be 1 cubic centimeter. 1 cubic centimeter is 1 milliliter. But since this is a liter, so 1 liter will be, yes, right, 1 liter will be 1,000 cubic centimeter. Let's change the cubic centimeter into the liter. Then if you divide by 1,000, you come up with 201.06, right? Then now let's see. Your compost is a 200 liter, and then your hanging basket is a 201 liter. So do you think it's enough compost? No, it's not enough. So your answer is not enough, since the volume of 12 hanging basket is bigger than the amount of the compost. Now, next question. So look, we can see the big cylinder. Inside the big cylinder, we can see 2 spheres. Then what we need to do is we need to find the volume of the space inside the cylinder, not occupied by sphere. So we need to find the volume of the empty bit, right? Always try to have a plan. So how can we find the empty bit? Yes, right. First of all, we need to find the long cylinder, volume of the long cylinder. Then now, taking away the volume of the 2 spheres, right? So this is our plan. But I already give you the empty bit. That is 125 out of 6 pi. Then our final goal is we need to find the missing value of the r. So let's try to find more information, because we can't just find the answer here. That it says your h is 4r. That's from the question. Then now the volume of cylinder will be pi r squared h. But instead of h, let's put 4r. Then now what we can come up with is 4 pi r cubed. Then taking away then 2 lots of spheres. So volume of sphere will be, yes, it's 4/3 pi r cubed, right? Then now, let's simplify these expressions. So I already said it's pi r cubed, pi, taking away, then now it's going to be 1/3 pi r cubed. Then, now what we can notice here, it looks quite complex, but if you see that both of the expression has got r cubed pi, let's pretend that r cubed pi is one unknown. Then you've got 4 lots of r cubed pi, and then you've got a third loss of r cubed pi. All we need to do is just taking away that, right? So now to take away a third r cubed pi from the 4r cubed pi, so let's change the 4 into the third. So 12 third r cubed pi taking away 8 third r cubed pi. That will be end up with you taking away then 4 third r cubed pi. That is the volume of the empty pot, right? That now we know that the 4 third r cubed pi will be 125 6 pi. That let's simplify it, we divide by pi. That now your r cubed is the 125 6 divided by 4 third, and let's calculate it. If you times it, so times by the 3/4, then I can cancel it, divide by 3, then 2, and then that's 8, right? So it's 125 eighths. So now r cubed will be 125 r over 8. Inverse operation over cube will be the cubic root, right? So now what I'm going to do is r will be cubic root of 120 r over 8. So now to cubic root, try to make the big numbers as the cubic number. We all know that 8 is a 2 power over 3, and then 125 is a 5 to the power over 3. That now, since we've got an all cubic number, that we removed our cubic root, then we come up with the 5 out of 2. So now since we know that r is 2.5, so that's our final goal, 2.5, and then this must be centimeter, right, is our answer. So this is the end of the first part of the word problem. So now we carry on these tricky questions in the next video. So we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.